Since Superman movie is right around the corner, James Gunn is a part of that. And James Gunn has also directed 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies. And they're kind of canon in Creature Commandos, apparently. I haven't watched it. So since James Gunn is connected to DC now, and he's connected to Scooby-Doo, I thought to talk about all of the Scooby-Doo and Justice League adventures. So let's talk about the 6 things that have nothing to do with Superman, but one thing to do with his dog, but all in general, 7 things that deal with the Justice League members. First off, in the new Scooby-Doo movies, Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin in the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair. This episode starts off with Fred hitting a nasty bump, taking out one of the lights, having them late for
the Mystery Club convention.
A plane flies overhead, very close to the van, I might add. They go to check on it. Out comes 2 guys and a box. They point out weird things, and Fred says,
I think we may have a mystery on our hands.
They follow the car to a house. They go inside. Someone rolls up and the gang scatter. Shaggy tries lifting things up, but realize they're all nailed to the floor. Batman and Robin come in. They go to open the box, but a noise comes from upstairs and they scatter once again. Miss Baker comes down the stairs, questioning the box. They open it to see
Harlequins.
Why, it's just a punch clown.
Scooby plays with it, breaking it, and then revealing the counterfeit money was inside. Lots of talking later, they go out to follow the tire tracks. Velma finds the tracks, and Miss Baker says,
The criminal may have driven it to the auto junkyard just down the road.
Miss Baker clearly makes up a story of a ghost.
Some folks say the spirits of the departed wander around the auto graveyard at night.
At the junkyard, they find the car and footprints. They follow the trail to a puddle and a concrete compressing pit. Robin goes up, Batman goes down, and the boys get scared by a headlight. The others see Robin running up, but think it's someone else. They run off to find the Caped Crusaders. Then Miss Baker, a guy in mask, comes out from behind a car. The duo see this man and dive into a car. The crane moves with Robin still on it and picks up the boys in the car. Batman saves the boys, and Fred takes out the crane operator. Robin gets down and takes out Fred, now wearing the mask. They go back to Miss Baker's, and the house is gone. Batman makes a couple theories, then remembers about the Batmobile tracker. They go to the Batcave. After some refuel, the Batmobile is found and stops at
Batman and Robin exhibit building.
They head out and go to the amusement park and the exhibit. Everyone goes inside, but Scooby and Shaggy are left to guard the Batmobile. Shaggy gets spooked by Joker and Penguin in a window in the haunted house. They know they're involved with the funny money. Batman and Robin run into the haunted house and are watched by Joker and Penguin. Joker plays around with them, then eventually getting them trapped down a pit. Fred has a feeling something is up, and they all go inside. Joker then splits them up and activates pretty much everything.
Grizzly gargoyles, ghastly fools, floating objects, crawling ghouls, wailing witches, vanishing doors, hideous rooms with moving floors.
Girls get spooked by a fish, and the boys can't get to an exit. They finally make it, but it's a slide that has them land on a spinning thing. The boys then get spooked by eyes. Scooby runs off and hides under a bedsheet that they walked by. But then Shaggy shouts, "It was just Daphne and Fred." So he goes back and scares off Daphne and Shaggy. Scooby then gets spooked by Velma. Joker and Penguin dress up as skeletons for one last chance to scare them off. They run off for a bit, but then Scooby realizes, oh wait, I'm a dog. I like bones, and then chases the others for a bit, eventually getting them to fall into the same room that Batman and Robin are in. They get out and tell us where the money is stashed, and we learn that the money was sent to them, and that they don't know anything about the vanishing house. Joker and Penguin are taken away, then they figure out,
Batman, there can only be one reason why that furniture was nailed to the floor, right? And we're going
They then go back to Miss Baker's. The team split up and go inside. Scooby triggers the house to flip. Batman and Robin find a cave under the house. The boys trigger the flip again and run inside to tell them of the tree. Robin flips a switch from inside the cave and everyone exits the house into the cave. They spot and chase Mystery Man. Mystery Man winds up a dog that barks, and they basically nuzzle Scooby. A man bounces a ball at them, they scatter, bounce, and they get hit and turn on a car. Then they replicate the scene from Haunted Holidays Scooby-Doo. Joking, obviously. This came first. Scooby then ruins Robin's plan by sending him and Daphne flying. The trio and duo spot the hooded man and chase him down. Scooby then sends the masked man flying through the air, through a basketball net, and to the hero's hand. The masked man unmasks themselves to be
Mrs. Baker!
Couldn't see that coming. She says the thing,
And I still would be if it weren't for that dumb dog.
and then Scooby gets praised as being the hero, getting gray-colored Scooby snacks. Bat snacks. And then the episode ends. My thoughts on this episode. If I wouldn't have seen this episode, or if I would have been a dumb little kid, I probably wouldn't have seen it coming. But it's freaking obvious that it's Miss Baker. Her house disappeared. Her stuff was all nailed to the floor. Big suspicious anyway. Then the man had the exact same outfit as she did. And she made up a story about something being haunted close by the junkyard. So if you couldn't see it coming, you're a child. Animation errors. When Scooby and Shaggy were trying to run to an exit, the door disappeared for a frame, and then it came back. Velma's glasses go white, and Batman's glove went missing for a shot. Those are just the ones I noticed. There could have been more, because this is an old show and they probably don't care enough. Involving the Batman villains were kind of fun. They made the episode a lot better. And so I'm just glad that we get a lot of them in our next episode, which is just a few episodes later, called The Caped Crusader Caper. This episode starts off with the gang enjoying some time outside in the forest. Shaggy and Scooby are hungry, so they gotta go out and get some more firewood. While out there, they hear a laugh and they see Joker and Penguin with a scientist. They try sneaking away, but a porcupine gives it away. Penguin spots smoke and Joker wants to scare them out of the woods. Shaggy and Scooby gets trapped by a bat cage. Batman catches up the gang on Professor Flaky, an inventor that disappeared. Batman tells us,
If you see or hear anything strange, signal us by flashing the headlights of your mystery machine. We'll see it from the bat counter.
The gang go towards a cave thinking it's an entrance. There's some green eyes watching. I don't think we ever get told what those green eyes were. While going to move a log, the gang hear and see a dryad. It jumps down, scaring Scooby into the log. They push the log off a cliff, with Scooby going with it. The trio go take a closer look, but it gets away. The dryad scares the boys, then laughs. Fred signals Batman and catches him up. A troll controls a bridge. The gang come to a bridge, they go onto it, and the troll spins them around. The Dryad and Troll are obviously Joker and Penguin. The boys then come to the bridge. They get scared into it, and Joker swaps the bridge multiple times. Joker runs off, leaving the bridge off center. Scooby spins the wheel to save the gang from driving into the water. The gang get to the cave and go inside. Everyone trips into a secret passageway. They split up. Penguin and Joker interrogate Professor Flaky about his flying suit. He gives up the location very easily.
Tell us where it is or else.
Well, since you put it that way, it's at the Hillside Aircraft Company in Gotham City, in the testing lab.
Joker and Penguin then go play with the gang a bit. Back up on the surface, Batman and Robin find another entrance. The gang gets scared by a bat and scared into a boat that goes into a water phantom type thing. The boys get out of the water, and then they get scared by Professor Flaky. The heroes save the trio, and the bad duo run. Professor Flaky catches them up. The seven split up. One team goes to his lab, while the duo go to the Batcave. At the lab, they see a bunch of balloons and go inside. They get awarded a demonstration of the invention.
Simple, arms through here, legs through here. By pressing the right buttons, you can jet yourself up or down or any which way.
The duo chew on some tires, the bad guys show up and go inside. The trio trip up the terrible duo. Fred rolls up onto a sticky barrel. The duo then slingshot beach balls at the villains. The heroes arrive and get ready to attack. Professor Flaky gets spooked and throws out the invention. Scooby puts on the invention and the duo play around with it.
The kind they have on an accordion. Hey, maybe these make music. Man, what a terrible looking outfit. Like it makes you look fat, Scooby. I'll let some of the air out.
The heroes go to save Scooby. Scooby almost crashes a few times. Shaggy also tries to save him on a Batman balloon. Penguin goes to pop the fly suit, but pops the bat balloon instead, having Shaggy go flying. The baddies get trapped under a deflating bat balloon. Penguin retriggers the suit, but Scooby uses it better. Then the episode ends. My thoughts on this episode. Am I the only one that noticed the similarities between these two episodes? Obviously, the villains, for one. 2, there's a control that messes with a building. The Joker and Penguin steal a bat vehicle, either the Batmobile or the Batplane. Although we didn't see it this time in this episode, Batman and Robin driving in the Mystery Machine. Besides all of that, I think the episode is good. I remember this bridge scene happening a little bit more differently. I thought it was the van getting switched around every time, but no, it was Scooby and Shaggy getting switched around. And then the cave lab scene where they're interrogating Professor Flaky. I also don't ever remember his name being Professor Flaky. I thought he was just some scientist. I didn't know they gave him a name. Now, on to our first movie of the whole Justice League superhero type crossover thing. But it's not the Justice League in this movie. It's another team, if you don't know what it is. Scooby-Doo, Batman, Brave and the Bold. The movie starts off with Shaggy and Scooby running in an abandoned theater, as the others set up for the trap. The puppets run away after the gang gets saved by Batman and tells them,
I go wherever puppet-related crime rears its ugly head. You should be hanging out in malt shops, not loitering in condemned buildings. Believe us, they've been professional mystery solvers. It's not safe here for you kids.
The puppets come back more ghostly. Fred accidentally traps Batman, then Fred figures out that the ghost is afraid of fire. They run outside and Fred brings the building down on the ghosts. They explain why they're here and their clues.
It all started when we got an anonymous email asking for our help with a rash of bizarre thefts. Then I noticed Krypto using his hands and feet to steal jewels. We also found something else at the crime scenes. Banana peels.
And Geppetto was frightened of a lit match. But the real Geppetto was a trained fire eater.
He also phased right through Batman's hand.
So then we figure out that it's Martian Manhunter and Detective Chimp. The heroes then tell them why they're really here.
Mystery Incorporated. Welcome to the Mystery Analysts of Gotham.
As they leave, a ghostly figure looms. It goes at the camera right into a Scooby and Brave and the Bold intro. After the intro, we see Batman, Question, and Aquaman stopping a bank heist led by Riddler, with Catwoman and Killer Croc as backup. Question and Batman talk about meeting up with the mystery analyst Gotham, and Aquaman wants to join. Aquaman and Batman takes them all out with water and electricity. Question comes back from being tackled and doesn't speak in Question. The gang drive into Gotham City and talk about Batman's identity. They arrive to the meeting spot, and we meet more members of the Mystery Analyst, this time Black Canary and Plastic Man. The gang get to pick the next mystery to solve. They want to pick Batman's only one, but Batman isn't wanting to. Aquaman then drops in. They get an alert from a science factory. They all head out. Batman hears a whisper. Manhunter scans for life forms and finds nothing. They all split up. Aquaman tries to get Batman to spill the beans on his file. And then, with the Question, Aquaman, and Shaggy, we figure out that the devices were activated recently. And maybe by radioactivity. Fred tries to get more from Batman's case from Canary. Then, with Velma and Detective Chimp, they find stolen vials labeled Isotope 29, and they argue about how many there were. Daphne figures out Plastic Man's identity and hates him. A ghost appears, saying,
You did this to me. Do you remember, Batman? Now I'm back to make you pay. You and all of Gotham.
It calls itself the Crimson Cloak. They fight and they run. Plastic Man helps them escape as the building explodes. At a malt shop, we meet Harvey Bullock. Detective Harvey then shows them a photo of them fleeing a scene. Batman saves the gang from being arrested. Batman finally spills the beans with a flashback. Daphne does another word scramble, getting us to Edward Nygma, the Riddler, if you didn't know that. They go to Arkham Asylum. They find and interrogate Riddler. Riddler gives them their next location of interest. Shaggy and Scooby then find the cafeteria. Crimson Cloak appears and frees the prisoners. The trio run as Batman fights. Harley and Ivy find and scare the boys, along with other criminals. Criminals start a food fight as the boys eat their way out. They meet up with the others and start the doorway chase scene. They get out, seal the door, all right by the Gotham Cemetery. They go to his grave.
This must be the place Riddler was talking about.
No way, really, Fred? You mean the big freaking tomb with a question symbol on it? They find nothing, and Scooby finds a footprint. Batman freezes it and takes it to analyze later. Harvey stands by the van with a warrant and more backup. The van has planted evidence. They all get in the mystery machine and drive. Now there's a hero car chase scene. They drive to No Man's Land. There they get trapped by Bane and Blockbuster. Scooby and Shaggy distract them as tailgaters.
There's no possible way that should have worked.
Just go with it.
Scooby then crashes into the villain's bar, starting our villain car chase this time. They all jump into the Batmobile and go to the Batcave. While Batman investigates, the gang have a look at the sidekick suits. Batman pulls up footage of a press conference that frames Shaggy. Batman goes out to Milo's lab with some help from Aquaman and Question. Aquaman picks up on Questions No Questions. The Crimson Cloak appears by a rebuilt teleportation machine. Batman tries to talk down the cloak, but that doesn't work. It bites and traps Batman and Aquaman in ropes and traps Question under some rubble. Velma analyzes footprints and it comes alive. Back at the lab, Aquaman and Batman hang above the machine. Crimson Cloak bubbles, then activates the machine. Aquaman says,
Suffering sandhunters. I know you're a ghost, but pull yourself together.
then Batman figures out who it is before it cuts back to the gang hiding. They then trap it in the dehydrator. Then Daphne pulls up a photo of the villain it is. They go to warn him but get jump scared by the Crimson Cloak. Fred thinks of dressing up. Back at the lab, Aquaman distracts Cloak as Batman tries to escape. Crimson Cloak activates the machine and the gang arrive, shutting down the machine dressed in the costume. The Cloak splits parts of him off to handle the gang. They all get chased around with music following. After that, they get surrounded. They have a holy Batman joke. Fred says,
Now!
they all throw down smoke bombs, grapple out as the copies dive in, getting them in one spot to suck them dry with the dehydrator. Velma rehydrates the dust to reveal
Clayface. His real name is Basil Karloff.
Clayface gives us his motive,
I was offered a cure. Just another accident, I guess. All I had to do was help him by stealing the isotopes and framing nucleus.
and who he was doing this for.
The Riddler.
Batman calls Arkham Asylum to check on the Riddler. That's not him. That's just another duplicate. Batman Batcuffs Question, and we get our unmasking. We get a flashback to the swap. Batman thanks Aquaman for figuring it out. Riddler gets away by throwing his vest on the heroes. Back inside, Riddler reactivates the device, and it rises. Question hits the Riddler off and tries to lower the shield. Scooby and Batman hear the cry and see he's making it. Batman goes up to save the Shadow. Everyone works together to shut down the machine. Scooby helps Batman. And then they save who was in there. Outside, later, they figure out why Batman was hearing the voice.
Your first encounter with the machine put you in tune with the teleporter's frequency.
But only when you were near the isotopes used in the original device. That's why I kept hearing them at the crime scenes.
Scarlet thanks Batman for saving his son. Batman thanks the gang, and the gang figure out who Batman really is.
The warmest, kindest, most big-hearted soul we've ever met. A great big teddy bat.
With one more holy Batman joke, the credits roll. My thoughts on this episode. The Crimson Cloak really reminded me of the Red Ghost from Gourmet Ghost movie. They just look very similar with like the red, but also just like the floating nature and like the cloak thing of it. I like that we got, it feels like we got an even amount of Scooby-Doo mystery solving gang with Batman Brave and the Bold. Yeah, I mean, we probably got a little bit more of Batman and Brave and the Bold than we did Scooby Gang, but it just felt cool that it felt evenly balanced. I mean, we were in fucking Gotham, so I mean, it better be more Batman than anything. I guess it wouldn't have made the reveal a lot weirder, but I wish we got more of questioning lines so that we could tell a little bit more when the swap happened, or when it was happening, or when it did happen, like so that we could be like, oh, he's not giving off questions, he's suspicious. But I know this is for little kids, so they didn't want them to pick up on it. Those are all of my thoughts, I believe, that I had. On to our next series, and our last Batman-themed adventure, Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, with What a Night for a Dark Night. The episode starts off with bats flying past a pink moon. Inside Wayne Manor, Alfred is looking at the mail. Then he opens a letter and reads it. Then he gets attacked by Man-Bat. Letter falls and we see it's from Daphne. Roll the intro. After the intro, the gang drive
Down some creepy road at night in the middle of nowhere?
to visit Alfred. They try to understand Daphne's relation with Alfred. Then the Batmobile races by, having the gang swerve off the road. They do the Guess Who thing,
Jet-powered car?
Cape and Cow? Gotham City plates?
Cold, dark, and creepy?
That was Batman!
and they arrive at Wayne Manor. They see something broke in and investigate. They split up and call out for Alfred. Shaggy and Scooby play around in the billiards room, trashing it. Fred finds a secret button and flips it a couple of times, not seeing Batman right behind him. Shaggy slips on clue number 1, being lipstick. Then are scared off by Batman. Batman keeps cutting them off from running and trying to get answers. Scooby tries explaining what they saw as everyone gets taken away. Batman takes them back to the billiards room. and interrogates them. Batman doesn't trust them. He investigates Scooby's paw. He frees them, and they investigate him about...
But what are you doing here? How do you know Alfred?
Yeah, but if you were on your way here when you passed us, how did we get here first? And where'd you park the Batmobile?
Batman knocks them out and puts them outside of Gotham. They look at the letter and it has lipstick on it. They go to the store that sells that specific brand of lipstick. Daphne tries her best joke.
Boy, this place sure gives new meaning to haunt couture. It's a fashion joke.
Inside, they find the lipstick and Daphne steals it all. I know it's a rundown store, so it technically doesn't count as stealing, but Fred finds footprints. They split up. The Man-Bat looms over Fred and Daphne. Velma hears and finds a computer that's trying to hack into Bruce Wayne's bank account. They call Batman. Batman drives to Arkham Asylum to investigate a lead on a Man-Bat. That lead falls through, so Batman takes a look at the photo Velma sent him and knows who it is. Batman orders them to get out, but they can't in time before they get attacked by Man-Bat. They run through shelves like a door scene. They ride down as he goes up an escalator. Velma loses her glasses and gets taken. Shaggy and Scooby run into the others and catch them up. Fred gets an idea and Scooby is up for bait. They set up the trap. Man-Bat attacks, getting Scooby's disguise in the mix. After some running around, Man-Bat flies around the trap. Shaggy goes flying with a hose, eventually hitting Man-Bat, but then Scooby goes flying with the hose, punching Man-Bat. Daphne gets pushed off and Fred saves her. Scooby and Shaggy are now tangled in the hose. Batman crashes in, saving Daphne. Batman fights Man-Bat. Batman gets crushed. Man-Bat goes back to death. Fred tries saving Daphne by punching the boys, then spray him down the stairs. But not for long, he grabs them and puts them on a chandelier. Batman frees himself just in time to save the boys from the falling chandelier and being bitten by Man-Bat. They unmask Man-Bat to be
Maestro.
but then they unmask him to be
Uncle Alfie?
Alfred laughs crazy, and then he's unmasked to be
The Joker?
Batman finds the duos that were taken. Then Velma and Joker explain his system and his plan.
And all this because he wanted to get Alfred's passwords to Bruce Wayne's bank account. It was basically just a heist.
I need a lot of money to fund all my great escapades and capers.
He says the thing,
And you know what? I would have gotten away with it too. But you meddling kids and your talking dog. Oh, and Batman, of course.
back at Wayne Manor, they sit to have a meal. After Scooby scares the gang, the credits roll. My thoughts on this episode. If you couldn't tell, as soon as I saw Wayne Manor, I instantly knew that looked familiar. So then I went on my phone to watch the episode, A Haunt of a Thousand Voices. And they use the same exact houses, fountain, pillars on the roof, and everything. Even the doorway is all the same. Just a little more detail. They didn't animate Fred's mouth when he was trying to save Daphne with all those punches.
Not so fast, man.
I love the bits of the gang questioning Batman about where did he put the Batmobile, why are you actually here, and then his reaction being called out as a crazy rich guy. Also, if you know Batman, the lipstick gives it away. Also, I love Kevin. He's such an icon with the Batman voice, with the animated show, and then coming into the worst show, but also what I believe is the best crossover of Crisis on Infinite Earths. He's looked at as the voice for Batman. And it's such a great way, now that he's gone and everything, this is such a great way to start off a new series. On to our next episode in this series, finally, without Batman. Scooby of 1,000 Faces. This episode starts off with a shot of the beach that quickly changes to an establishing shot of a museum. The gang are already there, taking a tour and eating some ice cream. They walk by a Minotaur statue and look at other statues. Scooby-Doo activates a chain reaction of tumbling statues, having a boulder hit the Minotaur statue, having it come to life. The Minotaur goes to attack the gang, but is stopped by
Lasso of Truth?
Bracelets of victory?
Royal Tiara?
Sword of Athena? Big round shield?
That's Wonder Woman!
Roll the intro. After the intro, the Minotaur and Wonder Woman fight. Shaggy blinds Wonder Woman, having her get thrown back. The Minotaur escapes. Wonder Woman thinks they're working with the Minotaur, so she tosses her lasso of truth on them and gets some answers, even ones that she didn't need.
I use your toothbrush and not on my teeth. I put a lot more peanut butter on my sandwich than on yours. A lot more. And I licked the peanut butter straight out of the jar.
Velma explains who they are. Wonder Woman has only one goal. Wonder Woman tells the ladies they'll train. The boys get jump scared by the janitor and head to the curator's office. Fred is intrigued by the curator's victories. With a grunt from the janitor, we get suspect number 1. Outside, the ladies train. The boys head inside to look for some clues. Shaggy lights up.
It's a map of Greece.
The Minotaur blows out that light. Shaggy gets another and sees the Minotaur and they run, but are saved again by Wonder Woman. She goes for the kill, but the ladies won't let that happen. The Minotaur then takes her out again. He grabs the vase and runs off. Daphne finds...
It says the urn in this entire exhibit came from the ruins of Delphi. It's the life's work of an archaeologist by the name of Professor Nico.
And then Fred figures out what the map was for. The gang go to Delphi, and because they'll be there in 2 hours and 4.3 minutes, so Scooby and Wonder Woman take the invisible jet. Scooby has a dream of him and Wonder Woman living the life. After that, he gets scared from being high up, and then Wonder Woman lands on the yellow brick road. Scooby gets a meal for the flight. With the others, Velma does some research on Professor Necro, looking for a golden head. Shaggy mourns over losing his snacking buddy. They all arrive at Delphi. They follow Minotaur tracks into a cave. They find a poem.
It's in ancient Greek.
Velma reads it. The Minotaur looms as she does. Velma figures it out to be at Olympia. Minotaur leaps out to attack. Velma and Daphne fight it off this time. The Minotaur causes a cave-in. Everyone starts saying what's on their mind.
Maybe if we'd stayed as a group, this would have gone better.
Well, maybe if we all trained with Wonder Woman, that would have been better.
I wish I didn't have this indigestion from that horrible candy and bologna sandwich Shaggy made me eat.
Maybe I wouldn't have had to do that to you if Scooby hadn't eaten all those hot dogs with Wonder Woman in her invisible jet. Best friend stealer.
Wonder Woman tries going on her own, but Scooby brings her back down to Earth. Wonder Woman flies the van and everyone else to Olympia. She trains them all with a cool montage. Wonder Woman warns them of a pit, and Fred gets an idea. Velma calculates the area for the head. They hide as the Minotaur arrives. They argue about experiences. The Minotaur opens the chest and nothing. Fred gets his attention and they play keep away. Daphne opens the hatch as Shaggy trips, dropping the head. The Minotaur and Wonder Woman fight for the head. The Minotaur bull charges at Wonder Woman. She flips over, pushes the Minotaur into the pit. Fred takes off the mask to reveal.
The curator?
Then Velma explains everything.
It all makes perfect sense. Only the curator would have the extensive knowledge of the museum's floor plan well enough to disappear. And the stone particles the Minotaur left behind proved to be the same kind of plaster the museum uses to repair the statues. Which is why the golden lasso didn't work. The plaster and rubber costume blocked the effects. Plus, only a skilled athlete would be powerful enough to hold his own against Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman tightens the lasso, ripping the costume, and the curator tells all.
I wanted the golden head of Apollo. I was going to sell it and retire a rich man, faking it for decades so nobody would suspect me, creating the Minotaur costume to hide my true identity.
He says the thing.
And I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for you meddling kids. And Wonder Woman.
And then finally, the gang say their goodbyes. My thoughts on this episode. It's a good episode. I liked it. I like that they had an amazing athlete to basically fight Wonder Woman or hold their own against Wonder Woman. Well, and speaking of Wonder Woman, I like that her warrior side was always showing. She was never gonna drop down, but she listened to the gang and then changed her opinion. But her number one opinion was always kill the dang thing. When they were all trapped in the rubble, I thought it was going to reveal to be like, oh hey, the lasso of truth somehow got launched out and was touching everyone. But no, it was never revealed to us why they were doing that. Because they thought they were going to die? I don't know. But anyway, on to our next episode. Looking at my other channel, you might think this would be my favorite episode. But it's not. I already talked about what my favorite episode was. Probably in both of these videos, because I can't choose. 1 Minute Mysteries. This episode starts off with the boys already with our guest star. Of course, they don't know that yet. And they're eating 47 burgers at Big Belly Burger. The boys get called off to be the bait. Barry gets an idea and runs off. After the intro, we're set up at the mine to trap Miner 49er from the classic 1969 episode, Mind Your Own Business. The Flash helps them, or what he thinks is helping. They do the Guess Who thing.
I can't believe we just got saved by famous Justice League superhero teacher, the Flash.
Flash rushes Hank to Iron Heights. Flash, takes them back to Barry. We zoom out from a screen to show they're being watched. They get back to chowing down. At the next mystery, we visit another classic, this time the ghost of Captain Cutler from A Clue for Scooby-Doo. Flash runs them to shore, puts Captain Cutler behind bars, back to eating, and instantly back to another mystery. This one with Spooky Space Kook. Flash comes in again, stops the monster, puts Guy behind bars, and runs off with the boys. The boys get the fast food tour around the world with Barry. Shaggy starts to catch on, which Barry thinks he's catching on, but he's actually not. Then at another mystery, Barry runs to them with the Snow Ghost from That Snow Ghost. Real good title work, there's 1960s Scooby. Anyway, that starts our montage of unmasking. The clown from Quit Clowning and from Guess Who. Redbeard from Go Away Ghost Ship. Night from What a Night for a Night. The Witch from Which Witch is Which. The Ghost Indian type thing from Decoy for Dog Napper. And a ghost from Hassle at the Castle. Flash finally asks,
Sure has been fun for me. It's been fun for you guys too, right?
They fake their joy, and it zooms out again to the same guy. While driving, they talk about the Flash as he zips in and out with leftovers. At a farmhouse, Flash agrees to slowing down. The Creeper from Jeepers, It's the Creeper runs at them, and Flash forgets the promise. Not once, but twice. They hide in a haystack that Flash ruins. They run around for a bit with some fast joke in there. They go to classic joke from the original episode.
Quick, Scooby, put this key in a safe place. Another door. Old frightening face won't be able to open the door now. Oh no, it opened the other way. Quick, Scoob, give me the key. Where it is? Now we can get out of here.
They hide and they talk about the trap. Flash loses his patience and speeds everything up. The trio are not impressed. The boys speed off as the trio are attacked by a big bear. The boys come back to gang a missing and a note. Flash reads,
To a thief toy of Queen, always used to be unseen. Sign of joy, sign of sorrow, giving all lightness borrow. What am I?
Scooby solves it.
A mask?
They run off to
The old toy factory on Joy Street.
They go into the toy store. Bear pops up on the screen and shows the trio in need of help in different locations. Either unmask or the trio die. Flash is drained. Boys dress up and distract the bear as Flash refuels. Flash speeds off as Bear triggers explosives. Flash saves all five and the bear. Flash unmasks the bear to be
The Joker.
Fred unmasks it to be
The Trickster.
Velma, and Daphne explains why it's quite simple.
From what we learned in the abandoned toy factory, it seems that the Trickster has been watching the Flash, helping us solve our mystery. When the Trickster saw that we were friends, he decided to use us against the Flash. He wanted to create a moment where the Flash would have no choice but to expose his secret identity to the world.
Trickster says the thing.
I would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for you meddling kids and famous Justice Leaguer and superhero speedster, the Flash.
One last Iron Heights delivery. He speeds the trio back to the farm and the duo to Big Billy Burger. Flash leaves on his mask and almost gets found out, but they're too dumb to put it together. My thoughts on this episode. I like the throwbacks to classic monsters, and I might do a video on all the ones that appeared in this episode. Maybe if I can find a Scooby-Doo after this whole vanishing off Max thing. I just don't like that it takes forever to get to the bear parts of this episode. Or I also don't like that it takes it forever to get slowed down. It takes them 3 attempts and then a montage for them to finally say, hey, slow down. And I also don't like it because it messes up their whole mojo. The whole mojo: find a monster, run for a bit, find clues, and solve the mystery. That's what Scooby-Doo is. And you just ruined it. Because they have to run from the monster. And I don't feel like they don't do that enough in this episode. They only have one chase moment. I also don't like that they figure it out basically off screen. And since Krypto appears in the Superman movie, this is the closest thing we're going to have for the Superman movie that this whole video is for. So yeah, on to Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2. This movie starts off with Lois and Jimmy going into the Hall of Justice. They take a look around, find a hole, hear a sound, and see the Molten Man. Jimmy takes photos. Jimmy says,
Who do you call when your heroes need heroes?
Lois tells Jimmy to call his girlfriend, and the intro rolls. After the intro, we're with the gang heading to Metropolis. When they arrive, they see chaos and almost crash into Giganta, go to the park and see Joker and Harley. After a quick dream from Fred, he drives off, almost crashing into Solomon Grundy and into Zod and Kryptonians. Then they get picked up by Brainiac, scanned, eaten, but then Fred backs off, drives out onto some oddly shaped building, landing safely back on the floor. They arrive at the Daily Planet and meet Lois. Lois and Jimmy breaks the news.
Let me guess. This is your girlfriend.
What? No.
I'm Daphne.
She's my girlfriend. What?
Then here's the glasses and not knowing who you are bit, like I was mentioning in the last episode.
And who is this?
No, we haven't met. Like, what are you talking about? That's Velma.
Ah, did not recognize you.
Really?
Well, yeah. Velma wears glasses. Where'd she go?
Daphne then breaks the news to Jimmy. Lois catches them up as Zod and his followers attack. Lois shows them the photos of the fireman, and then Daphne notices the red eyes in the background. They go to the Hall of Justice. The boys shoot out of the van for some food. Velma gets dropped off and the duo go off. The lady running the stand likes that the superheroes are gone because it drives more people to her business. She tells Velma of the tour groups. With the others, we meet the valet driver, which is angry over parking hero cars. He starts talking crazy.
I couldn't have planned it better.
Planned it?
Yeah, if I had. Which I didn't. But maybe did I? I don't know what I did. What am I doing right now? Did I plan it? I did it. Maybe I did. What a great day.
Daphne clears the air about her and Jimmy. Inside, they all meet back up, and the boys are huge. Then Mayor Fleming comes out for the next tour and talks about her city without heroes. She gives these tours to give people hope. Lex Luthor then walks in with his dog and Mercy, giving him an introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lex Luthor, the President of the United States.
Lex then relays some accomplishments. Lex wants to buy the hall. The tour starts, but before the boys leave, Lex scares them.
There's more to fear within these walls than phantoms, ghosts, and super ghouls.
As Lex is sneering, Mercy asks him a question, and he gets mad at her. In the trophy room, we get close looks at the Royal Flush Gang cards, Starro, and the rings. We get told of those not on display. Scooby snatches one of the power rings, gets huge, but then Velma puts it back in. Fleming gets a call, and Scooby gets his head stuck. Fleming was told that Lex just rose his bid for the hall. The Phantom then appears to them, having them all say their catchphrases. Shaggy grabs Green Arrow's bow and trick arrows to try to fight off against the Phantom. Shaggy then gets shocked by the Phantom. Velma gets backed into a wall as the others try hitting it. They finally run out. The boys enter a control room and hide under the table. They're saved by Krypto, and everyone gets out right before the place goes under a lockdown. They meet up with the boys, and they try to show off their super dog, but they don't believe her. Krypto leads them to the break room where Lex is. He lost Mercy and got lost himself. Lex's dollar won't work on the vending machine and he zaps it and busts it open. And as the boys are about to chow down, Krypto takes it off. Lex introduces them finally to Krypto and they call him the Super Dog, and he flips his little collar around and reveals it's Superman's dog. Krypto then misses Superman. Shaggy, Scooby, Krypto head to the kitchen. Velma and Lex go to the security room, and Fred won't drop it.
So, what? It was like, some kind of co-ed summer camp?
Fred?
At the kitchen, Shaggy wants...
I hope it's the biggest, coolest, super-sized kitchen ever.
And gets the kitchen of his dreams. He talks about the villains, they appear, and Krypto fears. With Daphne and Fred, they talk about that summer. Fred finds Batman's belt and puts it on. Daphne mentions...
Fred, we know Batman. It's not like you haven't seen one up close.
Either referring to the movie Brave and the Bold, or just all the other times that they have encountered Batman. As Fred's acting like Batman, the Phantom appears. Fred goes for a gadget and gets a calculator and loose change. They go down a laundry chute. In the security room, Velma attempts to hack into the computer system to view security footage. She sees the food truck lady entering the hall just for the bathroom, and then the valet guy throwing trash in Lex's car, and then Mercy sneaking around the hall with Lex's bag. Fred and Daphne land on Wonder Woman's invisible tank. Fred tries to use another gadget, but gets an air freshener instead. Back at the kitchen, the boys run around as Krypto tries to fix the console. They finally read the danger sign. The boys then dress up and distract the villains as Krypto rewires the panel. The villains fight each other, giving Krypto the time to fix the panel, and then the villains disappear besides Grundy. The room then scans Krypto and shows an archive of the night the Justice League vanished. We see Superman get thrown through a wall and then zapped away with a bright light. They see someone hiding, but we won't be able to see them because it's just memory. Krypto didn't see them then, so yeah. Grundy then appears, scaring them off. They meet up with the others and Mercy. Fred offers to help with her bag, but she's protective of it. A light blinks, starting our song and chase, with DC references throughout. They all run into a room, and Grundy gets a hold of both of the dogs. Grundy then vanishes while hugging both of them. Shaggy jinxes it by saying,
Oh, thank goodness we're all safe.
As not just one phantom appears, 6 appear, backing them into a wall. Daphne lets it all out.
I danced with Jimmy Olsen one time at summer camp. It was a big goodbye party, and no one would dance with him, and I felt bad, and it obviously meant more to him than it did to me, and if we really only have a few seconds left, I couldn't live my last moments as a fraud. And
all 6 of them disappear along with Mercy. Velma picks up the bag, and it's empty. Velma figures it out after Lex's comments. He leaves for a call, and Velma calls for a trip. They set up a meeting, and Lex joins them again. They explain things, like the team just got called away for an extreme mission, and the Phantoms were just swamp gas. Lex crashes out, Lex questions their actions, and then the Phantoms appear. Krypto lifts up the curtain to reveal... They reveal the kitchen, and Mercy gives us her motive.
Mercedes Mercy Grace, personal assistant, driver, and bodyguard to Lex Luthor.
I already know all that.
Do you also know just how tired I am of being all of that? You know how it feels to every night see the flashbulbs light up for you, Lex, then immediately go dark for me. I wanted them to see me, Lex, not just as the chauffeur of the man who started and then dissolved the Legion of Doom.
She used the projector to have the Justice League disappear, and so she could make it the new villain hangout. Velma snatches the projector and explains the Phantoms.
So she used the projector on a low setting to create the illusion of phantoms haunting the old abandoned Hall of Justice.
After hearing, we can bring them back, Lex snatches the projector out of her hand. Lex congratulates Mercy. Lex goes on a villain monologue. He presses the buttons and shows what's coming. Bulldozers that can transform. Rex gets activated. Robots crash in. Fred runs off, leaving the belt behind. Krypto yoinks the projector and gets hit by Rex. Shaggy catches, then loses the projector. Daphne then catches it, but then Rex grabs it. Rex then gets smashed by Krypto. Rex pulls a Hulk and smashes Krypto. Krypto then super slams Rex into the ground. Rex makes Krypto weak with his kryptonite chest. Daphne then puts on the belt and saves Krypto. She also uses it way better than Fred ever did. Mercy then jumps down ready to throw hands. The projector goes flying and Velma gets saved with the projector. On the building, a robot smashes at them, having the projector flying again. Fred catches it with an invisible tank, and the valet comes in with the jet. Helen, apparently is the lady's name, saves the boys with her flaming fries and giant bottles. Lex snatches it from Shaggy. Krypto burns it out of his hands, and Velma gets her hands on one of the bots. She takes out a few and gets beat by Lex. After this whole game of keep away, the projector is out of everyone's hands. Krypto goes for it, but is stopped by Rex, and they race for the projector. Rex gets there first, activates the projector, as Krypto flips it, blasting Rex instead. Krypto zaps away all the robots, flips Fred back over, and brings back the Justice League. Lex says the thing,
And I would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for these meddling kids.
And the dog.
Velma explains Grundy's antics.
He was just trying to make a new friend. Look.
Shaggy works with Helen. Clark then arrives and isn't fooling the gang. Krypto then saves Scooby from Grundy. Krypto then gives him emergency snacks as the Flash eats them all. Then the movie ends. My thoughts on this movie. I liked it. I like that it gives us multiple suspects and motives, unlike some other most recent movies, where they only give us one suspect, then they team up with that suspect, and then there's no one else. Or when we don't have any suspects, and then they just are like, oh, it's the other three people on the island. This also, I believe, has the same art style as the Courage crossover, but I don't know. But it's still the art style that I like of movies better. I also love that the characters say other people's catchphrases, like Velma saying like, which is a Shaggy thing, and Shaggy saying Ruh-roh, which is a Scooby thing, and then Superman saying on our hands, like Fred, because he says we got a mystery on our hands. And then Wonder Woman uses Jinkies, which is like a Velma thing. And then Clark uses can't see without my glasses, which is a Velma thing. And speaking of catchphrases, Fred uses his catchphrase in the locker room, which is hold the phone, but then he didn't use it in the pan out shot. I don't think I have any more thoughts on this movie. I do like it. It is one of the cool ones. It's not bad. It's not amazing. Just right there in the middle where it's good. So there you have it. All of the Scooby-Doo and Justice League team-up adventures. Which one is your favorite? Mine, personally, is Brave and the Bold. Mainly because of the art style. I love that art style. It also has a mystery with the Crimson Cloak. And then it also has like an equal amount of action in there, which I kind of like. And Brave and the Bold, I recently started watching, so it's quite alright. I like that he teams up with a different hero each episode. I don't know when the next review will be, but subscribe so you don't miss it. Until then, check out the playlist of all of the reviews I have on this channel, and then click over here for the reaction video of Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2. I might have more thoughts in that video too, so Anyway, peace.